Hey everybody, it's Mama Soul Doc. So a question that I get asked in my discovery call quite a bit is there a reason why I have this problem? Or do you know what the reason is? And so the answer to that is there is some reason why you have your problem, but it doesn't mean that there's one reason. It doesn't mean that there's a reason we can pinpoint. I think in conventional therapy, there's often an assumption that the so-called root cause is something that can be established or figured out. And that is, I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm also saying, how do we know? Like, how are we going to prove that? So in some sense, it's a hypothesis or an assumption. How am I to know that the reason you have your problem isn't because a thing happened, but then some other thing made it worse or made it a problem? I'll never know that. You'll probably never know that. In some cases, maybe the reason you have your problem is like 400 different things. Maybe it's 4,000. Maybe it's only 4. How are we ever going to figure that out? And why is it important, really? So the thing is, since it's not something we can prove, it's just a concept. And I'm not saying that sometimes people aren't right, like in some cases, somebody will have a fear of flying because, their mom was in a, plane debacle or something. Like there are some that are connected in obvious ways, but most of the time, even those ones have been made more complex along the way. And so really it's a guess, it's a conjecture and a concept. It might be a useful concept. It might be a concept that a therapist can get a lot of mileage out of. But the important thing to keep in mind is that it's a concept and it's a conjecture and a hypothesis. So we may or may not be hitting on it. And does it matter? I don't think it really does. So you might notice in a session that something comes up that does bring about a big transformation or a big change or a big transition. But also something might come up in a session that seems irrelevant, but then 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months down the road, some things come together subconsciously and it makes more sense what that all meant. So sometimes the insight that we need about causes comes in time. Sometimes it's not immediate. So the point of this whole question and discussion is we can think about it, we can talk about it, we can assume things about causes, but will we ever really know? I don't think so. Does it really matter? I don't exactly think so. And in the end of the day, if the treatment or the approach that someone uses moves through it without knowing what it is, I think that's more important than figuring it out. So as you have probably heard me say before, as my mentor has taught me, the purpose of hypnosis and transformation technology that I'm using is kind of like stretching out your underwear. It's kind of like seeing at what point the stretch will snap and will take you into a new dimension or a new portal. And that is more an experiential or felt sense than it is an analysis, so to speak. So are there root causes to problems? Yes, there are. There must be, because otherwise we wouldn't have them. Will we ever know exactly what they are? I don't think so. Does that matter? I don't really think so. So root causes kind of becoming, in my opinion, a more antiquated phenomenon than it used to be. If you have questions about hypnosis, transformation, or why my practice is so effective and permanent and side effect free, just let me know. Drop a comment or send me a DM. And if there's something else you want me to make a video of, let me know. This is Mama Soul Doc in Montreal.